Okay, as soon as I watched this movie, I was like, I'm not touching this movie with a fucking 30-foot pole. But then I have had more messages from my subscribers over the last 2 days asking me if I could talk about this movie. And I was like, no, I don't want to talk about this sort of shit on my channel. But you guys asked, so, and I'm all about you guys. So, all right, this is going to be more of my opinion than it is a review. But let's get into it. Hey guys, welcome to Happywax TV, and tonight we're talking about the movie Lucky. I sat down and I watched this. It's on Shudder. It's one of their original movies, even though I don't think I'd call this movie very original. But, oh God, I didn't want to talk about this movie because, like, it's not, listen, I get it. I understand what this movie is trying to say, and in fact, if you don't get this movie and what they're trying to force feed you in the first 10 minutes of this movie, then I don't even know what you're watching. Like, it's so blatantly force-fed to us that for me anyways, it took me out of the movie. But let me get into it here. Let me read the synopsis. A suburban woman fights to be believed as she finds herself stalked by a threatening figure who returns to her house night after night. When she can't get help from those around her, she is forced to take matters into her own hands. So this movie is directed by Natasha Kermani and is written and also stars Bree Grant. So I just gave you the synopsis. Basically, this married woman who is Bree Grant, who plays May in this movie, she just all of a sudden, right, she's an adult, she's married, okay, and she's just all of a sudden one night she wakes up, looks out her window, and there's this guy there with this mask on her face, and he breaks into her house and he attacks her, and she kills him, right? And her husband's there, and for the first, like I said, first 10 maybe 15 minutes of this movie, I was into it, right? Because I was like, okay, what's going on here? Like, because her husband says, oh yeah, he comes every night and he tries to kill us, and we have to defend ourselves, and he'll be back tomorrow night. And I'm like, what? Like, okay, I'm into this right now. And so he does. He comes back the next night, and they kill him again, right? And then, but May is like, what the fuck is going on here? Why is this man, you know what I mean? And the husband, it's at this point when the husband leaves, I was like, okay, I understand what's going on here now, what this movie's about. And I'm going to give spoilers here, so if you don't want to, hear any spoilers on this movie and you just want to go watch it first, for a rating, I'm going to give this movie like maybe a 5.5 out of 10. And like I say with all the movies, go watch them. You know what I mean? Give this one a watch. You might like it. You may not. I'm going to give my opinion on it and stuff like that. So, but yeah, that's my rating. And from here on, there's probably going to be spoilers. So anyways, as soon as the husband leaves, because Bree is getting like all, angry and whatever, she's, anxiety because this guy keeps coming, right? So he leaves. The husband leaves. Okay. He says, I can't be around you when you're like this and we need a break and stuff. So he leaves. And then the cops come, right? And at this point, I knew exactly what this movie's all about. The struggle with women, you know what I mean? And all women are good and well-spoken and smart and everything else. And then all men are stupid. You know what I mean? And we don't listen to women and we don't care what they have to say. And I get it. I get that point and what this movie's trying to say. And I agree. I totally agree that women have had to do nothing but struggle to get where they're at. And I totally agree. But to watch this in a movie, and I'm looking at my watch going, okay, we're 15 minutes into it. This movie still has another hour and 15 minutes. And I'm like, please don't force feed this down my fucking throat. And that's all this movie does. It's just repetition after repetition. This guy comes back every single night, tries to kill her. You know, and they make the killer such a bumbling, awkward buffoon. Like, she easily kills him every night with like almost next to no effort. Okay? Again, women smart, men stupid. And then the cops come. Cops stupid. Why? Because they're men. Do you know what I mean? And then we get the things like, oh, you're not listening to me. Or one of her, she's a book writer. She writes books for businesses and how to improve your business and stuff like that, and how to move forward in business. And the one guy from her work there, I think it was her boss or whatever, says, you know, he comes to her house as this is all going on, and because she works from home. And, you know, he says things like, you know, we needed to change a few things in your book. And she's like, oh, well, why do we need to do that? And he's like, well, you're kind of lucky that, you know, your book's actually doing as well as it is. You know, like kind of putting her book down, like she's lucky to have what she has, is what he's saying. And she's like, oh my God, I worked so hard on that book. And I'm like, I get it. I got it in the first 10 fucking minutes. We're now 45 minutes into this movie. I'm still getting it so badly that I'm choking on it. You know what I mean? And it's like, come on, man. Like, and you know, okay, so at the end of this movie, it's just the same thing. Do you know what I mean? Guy comes, she kills him. It's all about all this movie is about the struggle that women have to face on a day-to-day basis because men are holding them back. Men don't listen. Men talk over women. They don't care what they have to say. That's all this movie's about. That's it. For an hour and a half. And I get it. I totally agree, okay? But to sit down and try and watch this movie with having this stuff just all this movie is a 30-second infomercial for how hard women have to work on a day-to-day business or day-to-day, you know, struggle to succeed. That's all this movie is. A 30-second infomercial. But to stretch it out to a 90-minute movie, it just, for me, it doesn't work. You know, and when it was over with, I thought, okay, whatever. I mean, the acting was pretty good. The story definitely isn't original. I mean, all it is a Happy Day or a Happy Death Day ripoff where she's changed a few scenarios to fit into this woman's struggle thing. So I'm thinking, okay, whatever. So I go on the internet and read a few reviews to see what people are saying about it. And you know what? It's exactly what I thought people were going to say. All the female writers, for the most part, are raving about how good this movie is. It's so original. It's so, you know, this and that, and women empowerment, and yay. And I get it. But I'm thinking, that's just, it's typical. You know what I mean? And hey, that's fine, man. Like, you know, go women. I'm all for it. I know I'm being a little goofy about it, but I get it, and I understand the struggle. And then the men, it's almost like the men are afraid to give this movie a bad review, probably because they have their wives standing there over their shoulder as they're writing the reviews. I'm like, what? So I went on to Shudder, and I started reading some of those reviews. Now, those reviews were a little more realistic as opposed to the professional critics, okay? A lot of people were ranting about this movie because it's exactly what I just said. We don't need 90 minutes of this force-fed down your throat. And a lot of the good reviews saying, oh, this movie is excellent and it's awesome. It's all women. And again, I get it, okay? But I did read some women's comments, and one made me laugh. She said, the only people who are going to truly enjoy this movie are the ones that have blue hair and an I hate men tattoo on their forearm. I was like, yep, that's pretty much hitting the nail right on the head there. Do you know what I mean? Because that's all this movie is just 90 minutes of us being force-fed of the struggle that women have to have or do on a day-to-day basis, and all the stuff, all the tropes that they fucking face on a day-to-day is just thrown into this movie. Now, does it work as a horror movie? For me, no. It's not. I have nothing against women, and I've said this already 1,000 times in this review. I get it, and I understand the struggle, but I just, you know, like I said, take a 30-second infomercial about women's struggles and stretch it out in a Happy Death Day style movie, it just didn't work for me. You know what I mean? Like the acting was good, but as soon as I figured out what was going on, and again, if you can't figure out the story they're trying to tell in the first 10 minutes, then I can't help you. You know what I mean? But I just told you what the movie's about. And that's what the figure is, the man. Even when he gets his mask taken off at the end, it's just a guy's face, but it just kind of rotates through all these men's faces, like a black face, an Asian face, a white face. Like it's just, but they're all men's faces. And that's who she has to fight against every night, is all the men holding her down, and her husband's not there to be for her when she... But as a movie, it doesn't work. Like there's a lot of stupid things in this movie that I just thought, like, really? You know, like her husband, she did say in this movie that like her husband left, but she also said that she had an affair on him. So, I mean, she's not the perfect woman. And the entire time in this movie, I'm thinking to myself, okay, you've got this attacker coming every single night. Like every single night, okay? Like, wouldn't you think to put some fucking cameras up in your house? Like, I'm just pointing the obvious out here. That would be my first go-to if I had an attacker coming to my house every night, or somebody breaking into my house or stealing shit. Wouldn't you think to go get some fucking cameras and put them throughout your house? Because every time she kills this guy, he disappears, right? He vanishes. So when the cops come, there's no body there. So they don't believe that, you know, so it's trying to make you think, is it in her head or not? But I don't know. Anyways, listen, I didn't want to get into this topic about, I am all for women's rights. Trust me. And I don't care if you're black, white, female, from fucking Mars, gay, straight, I don't care what you are. As Greg Doucette says, if you're a circle, we should all just be circles. You know what I mean? I love everybody. You know what I mean? The only people I have issues with are idiots. And that's it. Any race or creed or whatever the hell you are. You know what I mean? I don't care what color or what you are. I love everybody. I just don't like the idiots. Oh, and I did not want to talk about this movie. I don't want to, please don't turn it into fights in the comment section, because I will just delete them. All right, I don't need this on my channel. The only reason I spoke about this movie is because you guys asked me my opinion. So I've given it. As a movie, it was okay. I'm giving it a 5.5, but the message that they're trying to get across, and this isn't the only movie like this that I have not liked. And I understand what the director is trying to do and the writer. I totally understand, but I don't need it force-fed to me for fucking an hour and a half. I just don't. It doesn't work for me. I get the point. At least amp up the gore. You know, if you're going to force feed the women's rights down my throat, at least have some bloody fucking kills in here. It really wasn't even that gory. So I'm not trying to make light of the situation. I know it is a thing, but I just didn't want to see it. This force-fed in a horror movie. I know I'm repeating myself crazily now, just like this movie. Anyways, I'm done. I didn't even want to talk about this movie. So anyways, please don't go nuts in the comment section. Please don't argue with each other about this. You know what I mean? Like, I guess you're all entitled to your opinion, but again, I'm not trying to turn this channel into that sort of stuff. So any comments that I feel are, you know, just way out of order, I'll just delete them, because I don't want this shit on my channel. So anyways, you guys wanted my opinion on this movie. I just gave it. Yeah, so anyways, do leave me comments down below, because I am curious to see what your thoughts are. Just don't go fucking nuts, you know, fighting with each other, as I've seen on some other channels about this movie. And yeah, I guess that's it. So anyways, I do appreciate when you guys ask me to talk about movies. I honestly do. So keep them coming, and I will, you know, review and give my opinions on all horror movies and sci-fi movies that you guys want me to talk about. So yeah, anyways, it's called Lucky. It's on Shudder now. There's my opinion. And until next time, guys, stay scared.